What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got the co-host, Bret, back on the show. Bret, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
And we've got a great guest. You guys are in for a treat. 16-year NFL legend, linebacker Bill Romanowski. Bill, it's so awesome to have you on the show.
Great to be on, guys. How's it going?
It's going really well. Now, for those of you that don't know, Bill Romanowski played linebacker for the Boston College Eagles from 1985 to 1988, and then played 16 seasons in the NFL for the 49ers, Eagles, Broncos, and Raiders. He won 4 Super Bowls and was selected to 2 Pro Bowls. And in 16 seasons, Bill Romanowski never missed a game. That's so incredible.
Yeah, that's unreal.
What do you credit that to, Bill? Being able to never miss a game in 16 years.
Yeah, I learned early in my career how to take care of myself with massage, chiropractic, water therapy, stretching, lab work, getting minerals tested, acupuncture, you name it, I did it. And I had a really strict eating program that I was on. So I ate a lot of vegetables, organic meats, and, the combination of that, supplementation, and always addressing, a lot of times in the NFL, they say, no pain, no gain. Well, where there is pain, there's a problem. And I always tried to address it before it potentially turned into a bigger problem. Okay. And I got really good at that. And, that's the reason. It's not because I was any genetic gift. I was not. I just got really good at knowing how to take care of this body so I could play football as long as possible.
That's awesome. And you've taken those talents, in your career post-football. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing with Nutrition 53 in your company.
Yeah, I launched Nutrition 53 with 3 ideas: staying lean, getting sharper and more efficient with the brain, and sleeping better. Okay. And that is how I started Nutrition 53. And the product was Lean One, Neuro One, and Sleep One. And now, we're shipping product all over the world. It's going great. And it's about lifestyle. It's about helping people get lean, strong, and fit and living their absolute best life. And Lean One is our flagship product that is a fat-burning meal replacement. And we launched with Costco. We have a lot of really great partners out there. And we are making people better every damn day. That's and awesome. Lean One is probably the best tasting meal replacement on planet Earth.
That's so cool. That's awesome. And it's good to see you having great success with that. Now, you were known as the classic guy you hated to play against, but great teammate, great guy to play with in the NFL. Let's start at the beginning. Now, you played at Rockville High School in the early 1980s. What was it like growing up and playing football early in your career in Vernon, Connecticut?
Well, you know what? In high school, I played 3 sports.
Okay.
And I made a goal my freshman year in high school that I wanted to, pay for my own college. And I looked at, okay, what sport am I the best at? I loved basketball the most. Okay. But I was a better football player than I was basketball and baseball. So I set the goal that I'm going to get a scholarship and play college football. And my coach, Tom Dunn, believed in me. And there was an article that came out in Sports Illustrated about Herschel Walker and him doing sprints and push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups. And that was my game plan. And I did that every day.
Yeah.
And I did exactly what Herschel said he did. And it worked. And I got a scholarship to Boston College. And from there, I set the goal that I want to play in the NFL. And how am I going to do that? And I just did it by outworking every single guy I was around.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's
You got a question?
Yeah, I'm curious then. So you talk about how you set that goal for yourself when it came to going to the next level. What was the recruitment experience like, and what ultimately led you to choose Boston College?
Well, I took 3 visits. I went to the University of Miami, and I got down there, and everything was a big party. We went to bars and all these things, and I wasn't a partier.
Okay.
I used, keeping clean as an advantage for myself. And that's how I got my edge. So Miami, pretty clear that wasn't a good choice for me. And then I went out to Notre Dame, and I loved it. The tradition, everything about Notre Dame was incredible. The school, football. But it occurred to me that coming from Connecticut, my mom and dad were probably not going to be able to see me play. So I decided on Boston College. And because of Doug Flutie, the program was on the rise. And it was a phenomenal school. And it just kind of checked all the boxes. So that's why I chose Boston College.
Nice.
That's an interesting take as to why somebody went where they did.
Now, and I believe that Doug Flutie Hail Mary was like the season before you went there too. So that was.
No, I was there.
Oh, you were there? Okay.
Yeah, that was my freshman year, and I started as a freshman, and I played in that game.
Okay, so now, Bill, after Boston College, you would be selected in the 3rd round, pick number 80 of the 1988 NFL draft by the San Francisco 49ers. What was it like getting that call from the 49ers? What kind of experience was that, getting drafted?
Well, to tell you the truth, I didn't know a lot about the 49ers.
Okay.
My favorite team was the Miami Dolphins, and I knew a lot about them. But, when I went out there, I realized it was an environment that was incredible. The way they took care of the players, the great players I was around. I was around some of the best players to ever play in the NFL. When you look at, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Ronnie Lott. So I had a lot of great leaders that showed me how to do it and how to do it right. And from the way they practice, to the way they watch film, to the way they take care of their bodies, to the way they play on Sunday, So I was blessed, for that reason. And then to win back-to-back Super Bowls my first 2 years. And to be in an organization that was one of the best organizations in all of sports. So I was very blessed.
Now, did you learn a lot from like Ronnie Lott, for example? I saw a story of something like where a player like pushed you after the whistle, and you didn't retaliate right away. And Ronnie Lott was kind of like, this game is about respect. And did that kind of change your mindset after that?
That was my introduction to the NFL.
Really?
We were playing my first NFL game preseason against the Raiders down in the Coliseum. And there was a guy, Ethan Horton, playing tight end that pushed me in the back. And I got up and ran back to the huddle. Mm-hmm. And the next day in the film room, that play showed up. And it shows him pushing me in the back and me just running back to the huddle. Well, in the film room, Ronnie Lott turned on the light switch and he came over to me and he said, Romo, if I ever see anybody push you in the back and you don't do something about it, I will personally kick your ass. You hear me? And this is a game of respect. And if you're going to let somebody punk you, they will punk you right out of this league. Yeah. And so that was the 49er way. That was the way Ronnie Lott played the game. And I learned a lot from him. And I was very blessed.
Wow, that's a great story. Go ahead, Bret.
So as far as your teammates go, you know, we just talked about the learning experience right there. Who else can you say that gave you one of your biggest advantages coming, not necessarily coming into the NFL, but maybe while you were there, something that you took and made it a part of your game?
Well, you know, another guy, you know, that played linebacker at the 49ers was the guy, Ricky Ellison. And he was a guy that taught me how to watch film, how to take care of my body, how to train. And I think I had so many great mentors, you know, to learn from, you know, but those guys stand out. And then you had Jerry Rice, who was just a workout fanatic, you know, running hills, you know, and soon enough, it didn't take long, I was running hills. And so, I mean, there's really not much I didn't try. I tried anything that could help me play better. And, you know, so the combination of that, eating the right foods, taking the right supplements, you know, helped me, you know, do what I had to do for a long time.
Now, so you mentioned it, for your first 2 years to win 2 Super Bowls, an incredible start, a great place to start your career there with the Niners. Now, the 1990 49ers was the closest team in NFL history to three-peating. It's never been done. Losing in the final seconds of the NFC Championship game to the Giants that year. I have this argument with friends and sports fans all the time, and I'm interested in your opinion. I believe that the three-peat is one of the hardest things to do in all of sports, and especially in the NFL, being such a team game. What do you take? I mean, do you agree and how difficult it is? And that was such a great 49ers team, and still to come up just short of that.
Yeah, it is hard. And it's hard because you play a month longer than a lot of the other teams.
Yeah.
The other teams get that much more rest. And, you know, when you win a Super Bowl, here's the next thing that happens. Everybody that plays you the following year, they're out for you. And they measure their success as a team by whether they can beat the defending Super Bowl champs or not. So you're getting everybody's best shot. So that combination really, hey, it can bring out the best in teams, or it can be really hard for teams. Yeah. For the 49ers, it brought the best out in us. But, you know, when it comes to the Giants that day, Candlestick Park, we couldn't close the deal. And they got the job done, and they went, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, incredible. Go ahead, Bret.
So with the Super Bowl, as far as the two, you had 4, you know, the 2 separately here. What was your favorite Super Bowl run and why?
I think the Super Bowl that really stands out to me is the one in Denver where we played the Green Bay Packers. We were 14-point underdogs, and it had been 8 years since I had played in a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And I soon realized how special it was and how hard it was. And, with that being said, I was spoiled. I was like, oh, this is easy. You get drafted and win Super Bowls. That doesn't happen, quite like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went back playing the Green Bay Packers, the Denver Broncos weren't as talented as the 49ers,
Mm-hmm.
but we were a closer team. We were a closer group of guys. And when we beat the Packers that day, the greatest high of my life, the greatest win of my life. And it was pretty damn special.
That's awesome. Now let's go to what fueled it. I believe is you guys were favorites in '96, I believe, and the Jags with that big upset, and that was a big part of fueling you guys to go win 2 in a row after that.
Yeah, we let our guard down, and we let we let a team come into Mile High. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who were a wild card team that year,
Mm-hmm.
and they kicked the crap out of us.
Yeah.
And I happened to have a bad game. I missed 2 sacks that game.
Yeah.
And I vowed that it would never happen again. And that offseason, I put a picture of Mark Brunell on my weight room. And every morning when I walked in, I said, "You're going down. You hear me?" And, so that next year in '97, first round of the playoffs, Jacksonville came back to Mile High. And it was a revenge game for me, for the team. We kicked their asses all over the field, beat them pretty good. Then the next week, we went to Kansas City. We beat their ass. The next week, we went to Pittsburgh. We beat their ass. And then it was time to take on the mighty Green Bay Packers. And as I just said earlier, we were able to beat them. And that's because a group of guys came together and they were not going to be denied.
In my opinion, I mean, I grew up watching you play, and you were one of the most physical, intimidating, scary players to play on the defensive side of the ball. Like poor Mike Brunell, with his picture up there for motivation. Like, you're one of the guys in the league that nobody should mess with. So, Bret, you have next question?
So as far as like with your being on the defensive side of the ball, I'm curious about players who play, one side of sports. What was your favorite, I guess, position as far as offensively, or who did you like lining up against the most on the opposite side?
Probably, the guy that I loved to play against most was Tony Gonzalez.
Okay.
And he was a guy, was one of the best tight ends in the league. And I could shut him down. And I shut him down every game I played against him. And he knew that when he was going up against me, it was a 60-minute battle. And I was going to bring it. And I was going to bring it every damn play. And, that brought out, those kind of battles brought out the best in me and the best in him. And, I have to say that I pretty much got the most of those battles.
And I think that's a key in for defenses is that matchup, the linebacker versus tight end, especially more and more in today's game too, where the tight end is almost like a wide receiver and such a go-to threat like Tony Gonzalez. And it was your job to slow him down. And if you take the tight end like Tony Gonzalez out of the game, that hampers their offense by so much.
Absolutely. And, and he was, not only one of the best tight ends in the game, he was one of the best offensive weapons in the game. And, he really defined the tight end position. And, because of that, he's a Hall of Famer,
Absolutely.
and, so I loved going up against him.
Nice. Brett, you got one more question?
Yeah. So comparing today's NFL to the NFL that you played in, what's your take on it and how things have changed so much?
Well, they've really done a lot to try to protect guys and protect their heads from concussions. And, so you can't, you have to be careful striking with your head. For me, I use my head as a weapon, and that's what I did. Today, you can't do that. I would have been kicked out of every football game. If I played today, I would have been kicked out of every game. And because that's what I did. I learned how to hit with my head when I was 10 years old, and I perfected that, and I just kept doing it. So now it's more of you got to deliver blows with your shoulder. And, I think it's good what the NFL is doing. I think they're doing the right thing. I will say this, I think it's hard to do when you've got a receiver, a running back, a tight end, going full speed, trying to get away from you. And here you are trying to bring them down. And, and no different than a quarterback. Quarterbacks are not easy to sack, but you got to be careful because you only got a certain area where you can hit them. Mm-hmm. And so, the game has changed. But I think it's changed for the better. There's still violent hits out there. There's still, big blows delivered by shoulders. And it's still the best game on the planet.
Now, looking back on your great career, 16 NFL seasons, part of some of the greatest rivalries in NFL history, 4 Super Bowls, 2 Pro Bowls, never missed a game, over 1,000 career tackles. Would you change any of it? And, would you change any of it?
You know what? There's always a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas, but I can't change it. And I would have changed, a handful of things. It's like, Dave Meggett, I broke his finger at the bottom of a pile. I shattered Kerry Collins' jaw in about 5 places. I wish I wouldn't have done those things. But I did. And, and I have to live with that. And I would spit in a guy's face. I wish I didn't do that. I never wanted, I always considered there was an intensity line. And here it was. And I never wanted to come in below it. I wanted to be at it or above. And that's what I did. And I played with a reckless abandon. I tried to be one of the baddest mother effers on the field and go out there and do what I love to do. And that's what I did.
And that's something that I think people don't always remember nowadays is that the NFL almost kind of made you who you were too. You had to be that. You had to be that violent, that physical, that intense to make it in that league, in that era.
It's a violent sport.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody fool you. It's a violent game. You've got 325-pound offensive linemen trying to take you out. You got tight ends that want to block your butt off and drive you into the ground. And you got fullbacks that want to block your ass off and dominate you. And you got to deliver blows to them and beat them to the punch. And, so it's a violent sport. I think that's why people like it so much. And I truly believe that it's the greatest game on the planet.
I agree. And one last thing, I'm sure you agree, but even in today's NFL, where it's a passing league and it's all about offense, where the Bucks go out there and keep the Chiefs without a touchdown in the Super Bowl, it reconfirms in my mind defense wins championships. Do you agree?
Absolutely. But, you know, the defense did such an amazing job against Mahomes. And, you got to have that, but you also have to have Brady doing what he was doing on offense. It
Yeah.
was a team effort, and they really, to watch them do what they did against the Chiefs, I thought was one of the greatest performances I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And to see Tom Brady go out and do what he did at age 43 was an inspiration, and I hope he keeps doing it.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate so much, you taking the time to come on the show, Bill. It's an honor to talk with you. NFL legend. You're the man, Bill. Thanks so much.
You got it. Thanks, guys. Great being on with you.
Thank you. And appreciate all the support, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you think, and have a great week, guys. Peace out.